Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Pyatt and welcome to my YouTube channel. My goal is to help as many martial artists as possible in their journey in study of Jiu-Jitsu, whether you are a complete beginner or an experienced martial artist. I do videos every Friday, so if you like and enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to get more just like it. Please feel free to put comments down below. This week we're going to focus on one specific technique, which is Sankyo. So this is a wrist locking technique, but it's really important that you don't just lock the wrist, that you lock the entire structure. So we consider this to be a skeletal lock. So we'll have a look at some of the details, some of the entries, and some of the issues about entering this technique. So check it out. Right, so we're going to do it through a punch first of all, just keep it nice and simple. So the punch comes, so we're just going to block, hit, and we want to have a moment, an opportunity to grab the wrist. So if I just do this, the problem is my opponent is still on balance and everything. So as we come in, I want to just knock my opponent off balance just for a second to give me the opportunity to rotate the hand. Then I'm going to come in, we have my Sankyo, and we get the lock. We can do lots of different finishes from here. So a really simple one is we're just going to take him down, turn him onto his side, and break. Okay? So a little bit slower. So we here break his balance. So when we do the grip, what we want to do is we want the thumb to come in and my little finger edge to come around to create like a hook. So we come to here. Now it actually doesn't matter whether the fist is closed or whether the hand is open. If the hand is open first, what we want to do is to get our little finger hooked over rather than gripping with our index finger, so there. And we want to push the little finger behind here. The reason we do this is by doing that, it locks the small bones of the hand, and so it makes the lock come on a lot more effectively. So my little finger, again I grip with these three fingers, comes behind and we tighten that. Now the most simple way of doing the technique first is you put the thumb to your chest and you simply turn to look at your opponent. And that will come on really, really quickly and really, really simply. You then, as you develop it, will want to do a little bit more than that. So what you think now is this is where you want to start to lock the whole side of his body. What I don't want to be is in a position where my opponent, if he was to put a punch, is in this kind of distance. So I want to get his body to be locked on this side to turn him away from me. So what I do is I imagine his elbow is going to touch the top of his head. So this is what I call the Tina Turner technique, because he's got his favourite high heels on. So this is what I want. So now as Pete goes to do his punch with his other hand, he just doesn't quite want to do it. So I keep his body locked there. I can also use that whip, going from the Tina Turner technique to the fishing technique, to kind of bring him forward, and I can kick and I can strike and I can do all kind of thing. So once more, there's no particular great way to get into this technique. So I'm doing it from a punch, and some people will absolutely rule this entry out, which is fine. What I would say with this lock and with any lock is what you shouldn't do is go searching for it. And what I mean by that is I shouldn't be at this point thinking, I'm going to do Sankyo. What I need to do is see what opportunity presents itself. So if the punch comes in, we do all this, we get to there, and I just get a good grip. The whole idea is then I just come on and I just keep turning and I just keep going. So if I get the grip and the opportunity presents itself, it's a great technique, but it's not one that you necessarily want to deliberately set out to find. So if we do it from the punch, we get him off balance to just give me the time to rotate and then to get my grip in, so that you can see the hand. If he keeps the fist, that's okay. Keep the grip the same, still pinch the little finger, and exactly the same principle. So we get him up, okay? Now when we've got there, we have a couple of finishes. So you can just trip your opponent, but to help, what I want to do is drop the elbow. So I get him on his toes, I then drop the elbow to horizontal. So it's now facing him. So now what I'm going to do is do the lock this way. Okay, and if I keep it going, I'll turn him over, which then means I can put the knee into the back, I can drive, I can come in, I can obviously just go and do something simple. Do it this way. So the punch comes, in, hit, get the grip, I have my lock, drop the elbow, this way, turn, through. So. Another completely different option to get in that some systems prefer is, if I come on the inside, is to come through. So you turn through the gap. Now what I don't do is come at the elbow here, because obviously as I turn, my opponent can come in and do like a choking strangle. So what I do instead, once I've done this, is I come into the shoulder. My elbow comes through so that I have tension, so my body's tight, then step through the gap. So I turn into the technique and then put the lock on. Outside, you keep the grip nice and tight and just fast jerk. But for training, you obviously do it carefully. So once more, so enter, I can give them distractions, so I come through, here's my lock, drop, down, turn. Just one extra little thing to think about is, it doesn't really matter how I get into the lock, but as an extra finish. So the position of my thumb is important, because one of the most common finishes in here is after you've done the Sankyo, is to come through into Kote Dori. Now, if I have a lock and I'm transitioning from one lock to another, what I don't want to do is to lose any initiative that I've gained, and I also don't want to allow my opponent to relax. So if I have a lock on and then I release it and then go from there, that's not particularly great. Now, if my opponent resists and it allows me to pass in, that's better. But what I want to do as I do this movement is my grip is very important. So the position of my thumb is located here. And so as we press this through, we use pressure points here and here, so the thumb presses in. What that does is it just creates discomfort. It's not going to stop my opponent completely, but rather than just holding like this and just, you know, keeping a nice smile on his face, we dig that in just enough to cause enough distraction that when we get to the Kote Dori, then it's on. So with the Kote Dori as well, don't just crush, because if you've got someone really flexible, that won't work. Think of using your palm and crushing this way. So it's like you're doing this kind of motion rather than just this. This will work if you do it quick or you've got someone with really stiff wrists, but with someone really flexible, they can fold that in quite far. So better to isolate, which is actually Kote Dori, but done from this position. So keep this in tight, keep this here, and you know, you can do all the rest, you can take, you can carry on. Okay? So one more time, from the beginning. So when you do the block, keep him off balance, hit. I've got the elbow. Obviously this bit can be the end of the technique if I really want. Just coming in, but then after he's off balance, rotate, thumb up, and then if we're doing the Kote Dori one again, thumb goes in. So rather than having that at the side, have that in. So pressure points, one, and then through to there. And then there's lots of finishing techniques that you can do, controlling strength, throws, whatever you prefer from that point. So Sankyo is a beautiful locking technique. There's loads of little details in there. It really does come a chicken and the egg scenario from the use of the sword, so from Hasso Kamai. So when you're thinking about it, think about isolating the small bones, think about the little finger, the rotation, think of going a spiral upwards, so the elbow's coming up towards the top of the head. And ultimately, always think about your opponent's posture. If they can turn and touch you, the technique isn't on. So you need to create that structural change to get him up onto his toes. Again, make the elbow go up. Hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Feel free to put any comments or questions that you've got about this technique down below. And I will try my best to reply as quickly as I can. If you like this video, you can check out more of our videos by clicking the link here, here, and here, and you can subscribe by clicking the link down there. See you next week.